Hello and welcome to Opinions Plus. My apologies for the sound. If it's too low, I really, I really don't know how to get the dang thing up. But anyway, I'll try. But thanks for your patience. I appreciate it, even with the, you know, amateurism of the clip and the production of it. Today's video is, again, it's an old theme, but I guess it just has to come back and talk about it. Lies, 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 and more lies. What? Why do we listen to these things, and why do people believe it? There's so much information to show that it's not believable. But and I've said many a time, I think that there's a social virus going around, and I've heard other commentaries on the same premise that this is not just an American phenomenon. That we have people like this Trump guy and his sycophants and all the other people that go around and saying, like, for example, just lie about the crowd size, like in Wildwood, New Jersey, saying it was 100,000 people, or in the Bronx, lying about 25,000, 30,000 people. They just lie to promote, a false image. And they saw this one clip where Anderson Cooper from the CNN group was asking the woman on the ground, saying, what's the crowd size there, And what did she say? She says, it's certainly a bigger crowd size than the Democrats would have liked. Don't bother to answer the question. Don't bother to be direct. Just, it's certainly more, and this is one of the complaints I hear quite a bit on the progressive areas where main media just cannot tell the truth. They hedge everything. Hedge, hedge, hedge. Some people call it they're seeking balance. They're seeking to, not to take the high road. They don't know what the high road is. I don't think any of these people know what the high road is. And if they would just be honest, decent people. But they cannot be for some reason. This is the sadness. This is the sickness. This is the problem. This is what I called a social virus. But it's not a social, maybe it's not a social virus. Maybe it's a character flaw in human beings that they mimic. They just mimic the people in power. And if you listen to the Trump people, and he's always lied. I mean, now it's like, whoa. I mean, the lies just keep, just coming out like a fire hose. Like at the trial, he's got all these people saying, no, people can't come and protest for me because they don't want to. But he can't say that. So what does he say? They're not allowed to. I'm being prosecuted. It's all to his little art form of disinformation. Yet what does the main media do? Nothing. They just talk around it or don't say anything or pick and choose. That's what they do to get ratings. Everything is money. Is it true, decent reporting? I have to say no, it's not. There's efforts to be made to convey some of this just blatant lies that come out of these people's mouths. Come on. It's freezing in the court, and then they come back and they say it's 76 degrees. Now the court tries to mollify the big mouth, so they raise the temperature of the courtroom so everybody else has to suffer because this one clown can't take the cold, can't wear a thermal shirt or do anything other than whine and complain. There was a bit on Saturday Night Live, I remember years and years ago. It was called Mr. and Mrs. Weiner. Mr. and Mrs. Weiner. And they started, and the skit started, and they were on a line going into a restaurant. And they were in the back of the line. And they kept, oh, what a long line, what a long line, in the long line. And they went on and on. And what do? People get sick of it, so they push into the front. Then they get in the restaurant. Oh, what a lousy table, what a lousy table, yeah, yeah, yeah. Then what do? Get a better table. Always the whining, always the action, the abrasion, the irritation creates an action, like a fly or something, buzzing around. You want to get rid of it. It's so maybe it is a mimic. People see that and say, okay, well, now I can whine and I can get to the front of the line if I have enough, brazenness to just whine all the time and not have any shame, not have any decency, not have any honor, not have any, self-realization that I'm a human being with others. But no. So maybe it's just a character flaw in some, as they listen to this stuff, they just, imitate. Imitate. They don't know any better. It's, it's a social thing that's built into people. The herd mentality, the tribe mentality, the whole thing. When do you feel comfortable? When you're doing stuff with people that do the same stuff. If you come into a group that's different or unusual, you act, you feel a little nervous, uncomfortable. Now I'm comfortable. Well, I've said before that there are some issues that come into human beings that are evil. Evil. They just are. People do evil things. There's so many across literature, across history, across whatever. People do evil things. Let's just realize that. This is not all sweet and clean just because you're living today and you haven't had a serious concern in the United States for some time. You didn't live through a civil war. You didn't suffer the way the people in the South did. And many of it on their own choosing, many not. Many of those, people that fought for the South in the Civil War, they lost their farms, they lost their families, they lost their lives, of course. They lost their arms and legs. And for what? Were they deceived? Are these people being deceived today? My argument is yes. They are being deceived to promote an idea that is not to the good. It has nothing to do with goodness. I saw this little clip of Trump saying, the blacks and the Hispanics are out there getting, losing their jobs. It's such they've always had a problem. This is bias. This is status. This is what society is all about. This is why you have laws. This is why you develop laws. Are the laws right? No, not always. Do they try to be right? I would say yes, they try to be right, depending on who's promoting it. There's some now in the legislature. I just heard some guy from Tennessee, just saying something about trying to export the protesters who, in colleges back or over to Gaza just because they are supporting, fair treatment to the Palestinians over there because of the almost genocidal aspect of how they're being attacked. Thousands and thousands of innocent people being killed. Of course this is wrong. There's no right about it. Let's not play games here. And these people here, it doesn't matter because it doesn't enter your soul. It needs to enter your soul at some level to stand up and be aware that there is wrong everywhere It's up to us to channel the goodness to a direction that becomes beneficial to everybody, not just ourselves and not just a one idiot leader like that Trump guy who just promotes evil, promotes it. You know, you do a little study, you look at his background, and I mentioned it before. Even when I heard him back on Howard Stern years back, I knew the guy was no good. He was no good. He still isn't any good. He's a lousy person. He has no heart. He has no empathy. They showed a little clip about some woman at this Bronx thing fainted from, and he had, what does he do? He grabs a bottle of water and starts drinking it and says, "Hey, how's the girl?" Instead of maybe handing it to her, say, "Can I help?" or "Can I do something?" No, there's no way on earth he would do that. And of course, there's thousands of people who say, "Oh, no, he can't do that. He's protected by Secret Service and all that other shtick." But he could show, he could try, he could, offer the water. Here, throw some water down to an aide or something. He had it right there. I don't know if the people attending this woman did or not. They didn't bother to show any of that. But it's the imagery of it all. Everything is imagery. Let's just get real about this stuff. But the lies, the deceit is constant. It's overflowing. And just this silly stuff on this crowd size business that people take up to support a man like Trump, to support his lies. That Eric Trump guy, "Oh, there are 100,000 people at Wildwood, 100 them." And the aerial shots showed there was nowhere near 100,000 people. The shots on the ground showed that people were leaving at a prodigious rate. But no, it's not that. It has nothing to do with that. It's how to win, how to manipulate. That's the sickness. But is it a sickness or is it a character issue? Well, I'm wondering. I just think that people get absorbed in this stuff and absorb it and take it and mimic it and not think about it. This goes to my premise, my constant premise. Critical thinking. You've got to amplify it, elevate it, participate in it, not just accept this view. We are on a threshold of something very bad. And it's not just, and I mean, I think we could do something about it. Go to the good. Keep hope alive. Don't underestimate yourselves and your influence. Critically think. Go to the good. Counter these lies. Counter the mentality. Let people copy us, or try to copy us, on the good qualities we have. Not the negative ones, but the good ones, the honest ones, the decent ones, the honorable ones. If you like what you hear, please subscribe and forward on to the clip if you think it has any value. But we've got to do something, or continue to do something. We're doing something. People are doing something. There's a lot of good people out there. There's a lot of good people, but don't let's throw away a democratic system which is not balanced. There's a lot of horror in it, but this clown is not the answer. That's for sure. He's a buffoon. To those who admire this man, I don't understand how. Anyway, thank you for listening and watching. Have a good day. I hope my raised voice makes the audio a little better. Thank you. Bye for now.